Okay, let's get started. I'll have you guys just take a few notes up here. Just to go off of where we left off. That we've been graphing linear equations, two variables. And a long time ago when we graphed inequalities, it was just one variable, so it was open circle, closed circle. Okay, it point to the left, point to the right, that type of thing. So we're just going to take this to two variables. It's basically the same thing we were already doing. Okay. Okay. But here's the catch. You have to know how to graph the equations. Excuse me? You have to know how to write the equations in order to do the inequalities. So we have, what does the line y equals 3 look like? And a lot of it depends on you knowing that right away. Yeah? Horizontal line going through 3. No, horizontal, you're right. So if you know that, the rest is pretty simple. The rest of it is pretty much like, well, is it open circle or closed circle? Is it going to the left, going to the right? Except with two variables, it's going to be shading and dashed and solid lines. So instead of open and closed circle, we have a solid line, dashed line. This time it's the sign is greater than. So it's going to be, normally this would be an open circle since it's greater than, but with two variables we do a dashed line. And usually we shade left, shade right. Well, it's a little bit different with two variables because now we're dealing with y, which is up and down. So when it says y is greater than, all the y's that are greater are going to be above. So it's shade up and shade down instead of left and right. And you just do a little shading, just like that. So the basis of it is all the same. It's y equals 3, and then solid line, dashed line, shade up or shade down. Now that little box down in the right-hand corner, you probably want to write all that down. That's really the only thing you can mess up on these problems is if you don't have the right type of line, you don't shade up right or shade down right. Remember, we're talking about the y value. So when we shade up, we're talking about, you know, where the bigger y's are, shade down where the smaller y's are. All right, good. What's the slope of that line? 0. And the y-intercept is 3. Good. So that's like y is greater than 0x plus 3. We can't confuse this with y is greater than 3x. So it does make a difference that there's no x. All right. Recall, what does an x equals negative 2 look like? What is x equals? Y equals is horizontal, x equals is vertical. So notice how this is a solid line because it's less than or equal to. So if you use that chart, and where are all the x's that are less than negative 2? To the left-hand side. Okay. Don't you guys give that a shot? Just sketch it on your paper there. Doesn't have to be perfect, but you know where the y-intercept is at positive 2. Is this line going to be going up or down?
Down.
Down because it's negative slope. So we've got a general idea of what it looks like. It goes through positive 2, and it's going downwards, down 3, right 1. Now, is that shaded up or down? Shaded up or down? And solid or dotted? Solid. And you wrote down the chart if you need to refer to it. Okay. So it should look something like. Okay. Something like that. And then since we have a greater than or equal to, solid line. It's greater than, so it's shaded up. So you go from any point on that line and you go straight up. Don't think about this as left side and right side. That will mess you up. So just take any point on the line and go straight up. And there, it's everything right there. Those are all the y's that are greater than negative 3x plus 2. Okay. How can you check? Plug in a point, such as 0, 0. If you plug that in, you should get something that's false because that's not the shaded region. So if it's in the shaded region, it's true. If it's not in the shaded region, it's false. Since we already predicted it's going to be above, we expected that when we plugged in 0, 0, that you would get something that's not true, like 0 is greater than or equal to 2. And so you can always check. You can always check. So those are the ones that, as long as you know how to do the regular equation line, the boundary line, as I put it up there, the rest of it's easy to check. Solid or dotted, shaded up, shaded down, and even do a point. Use 0, 0 unless the line actually goes through 0, 0. You can't use a point on the line if you use something else. Yeah.
Can't you just shade the way the tail of the
Mm, no, that doesn't work all the time. No. It works a lot of the time, but not all the time. So we want to be careful and make sure we do something that works every time, even if it is more work. Alright, so which one is this? Just know the symbol. All the boundary lines are the same. A, B, C, or D. Now, which two are out right away because solid dotted? Yeah, B and D are out because those are solid lines. We know it's a dotted line. Is it shaded up or shaded below? Is it A or C? A, shaded up. Yeah, greater than. Okay. That's that. So this right here is the only new part that we're doing. Do you know the solid dotted? Do you know the shade up, shade down? Okay, if we plugged in 0, 0 into there, we get 0 is greater than negative 2, which is true, which is why it's shaded. It is a solution. All right. Go ahead and solve that for y. Write that down and solve it for y. Now remember all the little rules is too, because you could get a mistake if you're not careful. So we probably started with this. Divide by what on both sides? What is it? Negative 4. The coefficient of y is negative 4, so that's what you divide by. Alright. Now, what do I need to do right now that's often forgotten? Yeah, divided by a negative. So, if you forget to switch it, you now know that your shading will be on the wrong side. So, switch that sign. Negative 3 over negative 4 is positive 3/4. 12 over negative 4 is negative 3. Okay. Plot it. Dotted line. But if you forgot to switch the sign, you would have shaded above instead of below. So, as you guys know and you saw on Khan Academy, if you forget one little thing, you don't know it. There's no kind of getting there, kind of know it. Oh, I just made one little mistake. Well, we got to get better at this, so we're not making just one little mistake, but doing it 100% correct repeatedly. Okay, so the purpose of this was just to remind you about switching the negative. So if you ever have the right graph, the right solid dotted, but you're shaded one way and somebody next to you is shaded the other way, that's something to look for. Did you divide by a negative and forget to switch? Other than that, that's it. Okay? here's something in Khan Academy that would look like. It's a y is less than or equal to negative 4x minus 3. So you put one of these on the y-intercept, which is negative 3, and then use the other one to do a slope of negative 4x. So that would be what? Up 4 and left 1. Is this solid or dashed? Is this one solid or dashed?
Solid.
Solid. Less than or equal to is solid. Is it shaded this side or shaded this side?
The other way.
Less than. So any point, and you go straight down, that's the side that should be shaded. Okay? Just like that. And if you do everything properly and you're careful, there you go. Full credit. But if you forget one little thing and oh, I put dash, start all over until you pay attention to details. All right. Now today I'm just going to have you do just a worksheet with this, but this is coming soon, and I don't want people that kind of good at this sometimes maybe. Okay. One good way to make sure you don't make mistakes is write out the work. There's no work to show on this one, but when you have to solve for y, if you write it out, you won't miss as many little things. All right, so let me pass out your homework. Just looks like this. Now, it also might be wise to, if you want to take the chart from here that we did, this chart, the shade up, shade down, solid, dashed, go ahead and write that onto the worksheet. So we have up, down, solid, and dashed. So which one is solid and shaded up? Okay, greater than or equal to. Shaded up and dashed, just greater than. Shaded down and solid, less than or equal to, and just shaded down, less than. So while you start this, you already know that that should be a dash for sure. Now the one thing you don't want to say for sure it's shaded up, although this one you can, but the one thing you have to look out for that if there's other stuff here, if there's a negative in front of the y, that means it's going to be shaded the other direction. But for this, we can pretty much say for certainty it's going to be dash line and it's going to be shaded up. So before you even start, you already have this mental picture of it should kind of look like this. And the rest is just details. Okay? So negative 2. And then you want to go up 3 and right 5. So up 3 and right 5 would be way over here. You can also go down 3 and left 5. It's way over there. Be careful here. We have a habit of using a straight edge here, which is good, but just make sure it's a dashed line. Try to make it straighter than mine. You can still use a straight edge, but just don't make it solid. And then we know it's going to be shaded up. Okay. Now your shading doesn't have to be quite that elaborate. You can just do something like this, and that's fine. I understand that that's the side you mean that needs to be shaded. Okay. Both. Yeah, there we go. It's easier to see that way. Okay. Now go down. Let's flip it over to the back once you finish with that one. on the back side, go ahead and
Right here.
go ahead and rewrite it over here. This way you can show the work. Now you'll notice from the very beginning, the first thing you should notice is this. The coefficient of y is negative, which means you're going to flip the sign. So you already know that this is going to be a greater than, not a less than when you graph it. So it's going to be a dashed line shaded up. So before you even start, you can have this idea that, okay, it's going to be a dashed line and shaded up. You already have this mental picture of that's what it should look like. So then when you go through the actual steps, subtract 3x on both sides. And then when you divide both sides by the -2, the coefficient of y is -2. Don't forget to change that sign. Greater than. -3 over -2 is +3 over 2. -2 over -2, again, +1. Double negatives. Start at +1, go up 3 and right 2. You can also go down 3 and left 2. Notice how it's on the same line. Down 3, left 2. Be careful though, make sure you use a dashed line. And it's now shaded above. Okay. You guys can just use, just do something like this. I understand that that means shaded above. You don't have to color in every little bit. Okay. Look at anything else on the front or back, anything we need to talk about? Okay. All right then. I'll be around to stamp some other homeworks that are due. You guys can work for the next 20 minutes of class.